Well, the truth is, every single day, we narrate our lives. We tell ourselves stories about who we are, what's possible, and what we deserve. And here's the thing about our minds, though they are very powerful. And if you're anything like me, especially if you tend to overthink, it can feel like a spin cycle that never stops. You replay conversations, you relive your past hurts, and even create future scenarios that haven't happened yet. Hey, friend, welcome to the Rise and Rebuild podcast. This is your space to breathe again, a space for women of color, single women, and single mothers to finally feel seen, deeply supported, and reminded that you don't have to do this journey alone. My name is Lydia, a certified life coach and founder of Break the Cycle Global and a proud cycle breaker. Around here, we don't just talk about life. We get real about it. The messy, the magical, and everything in between. From breaking unhealthy cycles to mastering your mindset, navigating relationships, parenting, career, money, faith, healing, and so much more. This is where we rebuild when life doesn't go as planned. I know what it's like to feel stuck because I've been there. And now, my heart beats for women like you, ready to rise up and embrace love, abundance, and confidence. So whether you're carrying painful wounds, facing another hard season, or simply ready for a fresh start, you are in the right place, my friend. Grab your coffee, warm your tea, and welcome home. Because this is where we break, heal, and rebuild together. Hey, friend. Welcome back to another episode of the Rise and Rebuild podcast. I am so glad you're here. Today, we are diving into the quiet stories that run in the background of our lives, the ones that shape how we see ourselves, what we believe is possible for us, and even how we show up in the world. By the end of this episode, you'll have two simple but very powerful tools to help you rewrite those stories, shift from scarcity to growth, and start living a life that reflects who you are and what you deeply desire and what God has already designed for you. So let me ask you this. What story do you tell yourself about your relationships, your career, your family, your purpose, or even your own worth? Maybe it's a quiet whisper that says, I am not good enough. Or, good things never last for me. Or, I'll never get there. If you're a single woman or a single mother, maybe you're telling yourself, I'll never date again, or dating isn't for me. All men are the same. I'll always have to figure this out on my own, or I'll always be the one holding it all together. Maybe it's not even a story. Maybe it's not even words, but a deep, heavy feeling that you will always have to struggle, always have to fight for love, always be the one holding everything and everyone together. Well, the truth is, every single day, we narrate our lives. We tell ourselves stories about who we are, what's possible, and what we deserve. And here's the thing about our minds, though they are very powerful. And if you're anything like me, especially if you tend to overthink, it can feel like a spin cycle that never stops. You replay conversations, you relive your past hurts, and even create future scenarios that haven't happened yet. Is there anyone that's like me, an overthinker? Think about that. Opportunities to either build ourselves up or tear ourselves down. No wonder our thoughts have such a huge impact on our mood, our behavior, our choices, and even our confidence. And here's the tricky part, my friend. These stories feel like facts. They feel like absolute truth. But most of the time, what we don't know is that these are just stories we've repeated so often that they've become our own reality. They are not the truth most of the time. Sometimes they are stories that other people spoke over us, words that we absorbed so deeply that we started living them out without even realizing it. And the Bible actually puts this beautifully. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So is he. Our thoughts literally shape who we become. When we are not paying attention, and if we are not paying attention, these stories can actually keep us stuck in the very same cycles you and I are trying so hard to break. I've actually seen this play out in my own life. So let me loop you in on a little story. Come with me. When I first joined my very first coaching session years ago, it was a mastermind group. About 20 to 25 women were in that particular cohort that I was in. It was around the pandemic time. So many things were happening at the same time. But I joined this coaching session, this mastermind group, to just get my life together. And so everyone was going around introducing themselves, what they do, who they are, and the reason they are in the coaching session. When my turn came and I went last, intentionally decided to go last, just because I was in a very weird state of mind at that point in my life and nothing really made sense. But I had the energy to just get myself help. And when my turn came, I did not switch on my camera. The coach had asked that we turn on our cameras. I did not. And I remember introducing myself and telling my coach and the women in the community, my name is so and so. I'm here because of 1, 2, 3. But most importantly, I want you to know I am so broken. I think the broken would even call me broken. Sit with that for a moment. Imagine telling somebody else that you are so broken that even the broken would call you broken. You are speaking so negatively about yourself. You have come to a place where you believe nothing is good about yourself. I truly believed I was too far gone to ever have anything good. I was too broken to have healthy love. I was too broken to have a rewarding career. I was too broken to even get out of debt or live in peace. Those are the stories. Those are the things I believed about myself. And so when I introduced myself on that particular day, on that call, and told her that I am so broken that even the broken would call me broken, the whole room went quiet. At that point, everything I had seen and experienced seemed to actually confirm that belief. I had never seen a healthy relationship around me. All the people that were in relationships or marriages, they were either very unhappy, they were either breaking up, there was very negative talk about relationships, be it friendships with women, be it romantic relationships, be it, child-parent relationships. So there was a lot of negativity around me when it came to relationships. I had also grown up around struggle and survival. At this point, I want you to hear me. I didn't know any better. I was living paycheck to paycheck. No one around me was even talking about purpose, legacy, or breaking some generational cycles. And here's the thing, that belief, those stories actually shaped everything. They made me play small. They made me settle for less than I deserved. They kept me from voicing my own needs because deep down, I didn't believe I deserved more. But here's what I've learned. A story isn't always the truth. It's just a story. And if a story can be told, it can also be rewritten. You can rewrite it. The moment I began to question my story and my stories, the stories I had told myself over and over again, and align it with who God says I am, who I had started believing I was becoming at this point in life, my life began to shift in ways I couldn't ever have imagined. So I want you to take a deep breath and think about this with me for a moment. What story have you been telling yourself lately? Or what story have you told yourself over and over and over again that has become your own reality? I want you to think about the very first thing that comes to mind. Then ask yourself this. How long have I told myself this story? What has this story cost me? Question: where did this story come from? Was it born out of your own experiences? Did someone hand it over to you? Maybe your parent, maybe your spouse, maybe your teacher, or even the society we live in? And finally, ask yourself, does this story push me towards the life I want, or is it actually keeping me stuck in a cycle I am ready to break free from? When you actually pause and reflect like this, you start to see just how powerful these inner narratives and stories are, how much influence they've had over your own decisions, your relationships, and even your own confidence. They are powerful. But as I said, if a story can be told, it can be rewritten. And now that you've identified the story, the big question becomes, how do you change it? It's just not enough to recognize or identify the stories that have been running in the background of your own life. The question is, how do you change this story? How do you take this old narrative or old story and rewrite it into something that serves you now and that reflects the life you truly want to live? So I want to share two simple and I said powerful tools with you today. And these tools, I have personally used them and I have taught my clients and they've become a lifesaver. I have seen them transform lives, including my own life. So the first tool I am going to teach you today is called Catch, Cancel, Correct, or the 3 C's. I actually learned this from a business coach I recently worked with. And let me tell you, it completely shifted how I handle my thoughts. It's simple, but when you practice it consistently, it can literally rewire the way you think. So, what is the catch, cancel, correct framework? The catch is noticing the negative or limiting stories as soon as they pop up. The cancel is pausing, nullifying it, and disrupting that story. And then correct is replacing it with a new and empowering truth. For example, if your story is, I am not good enough, you catch that story as soon as it pops up in your mind, you cancel it and say, this is not my truth or my reality, and then you correct it with an empowering truth. For example, you can say, I am capable, I am worthy, I am loved. You actually have to know who you are for you to be able to correct these stories. So the first thing is catching the story, canceling it or disrupting it, and then correcting it with an empowering truth. At first, this concept might actually feel very awkward or forced, and that's okay. The more you actually do it, the more natural it will become. Trust me. You're literally retraining your brain every time you practice this. And here's something beautiful actually. This isn't just a coaching tool, it's biblical. Scripture tells us this. Take every thought captive, meaning you don't have to accept every thought that comes into your mind. You get to challenge it, you get to cancel it, and replace it with the truth. And what is the truth here? You're good enough, you deserve healthy love, you're smart, you're ambitious, you're wonderful and beautifully made, you are created with a purpose, and all those affirming truths that the good Lord says about you. And if you're a parent, actually, I'm challenging you to teach this to your kids. Imagine how life-changing this would have been if somebody had told you this at a young age. If somebody had taught you how to catch, cancel, and correct destructive thoughts and replace them with life-giving ones. The second tool is called the gap and the gain. So what is the gap and the gain? This is actually a concept picked from a book by Dan Sullivan and Dr. Benjamin Hardy. Most of us live in the gap without even realizing it. So what is the gap? The gap is where you focus on how far you still have to go instead of how far you've already come. When you're living in the gap, you're barely grateful. You're always comparing yourself and your life to other people. You're constantly complaining, whining. You never think what you have is enough. But then this concept asks you to move from the gap to now start living in the gain. So, what is the gain? The gain is where there is abundance. Living in the gain means shifting your focus to what's working and how far you've already come. Shifting your focus from what you don't have, what you think is not enough, what you're not grateful for, to what you have, what you can be grateful for, and to how far you've already come. For instance, if you are thinking, I should be farther along by now, right? You've looked at your peers, you've looked at people around you. They are all living their best lives. People are married, they have children, people have great careers, people have built nice homes, people are traveling the world and all that. And you're looking at their lives and thinking, I should be farther along by now. Or these were my classmates, or these are people we grew up with, and they're living a good life, or they're making something out of their own lives. And you're thinking to yourself, I should be farther along like so and so. That is living in the gap. But when you start to live in the gain, you actually look at your own life and realize those small glimmers of hope, those small moments of good things happening for you, and you'll start being grateful for them. This is where you look at your life every day and see the things that you've accomplished, because I promise you, there are things that you've accomplished. You're just not seeing them. Instead of comparing yourself to other people, start comparing where you are now to where you used to be instead of chasing some ideal version of yourself. That is what we call living in the gain. Scripture actually confirms this concept. The Bible tells us whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is praiseworthy, think of those things. When you focus on the gain, you are actually focusing on what's true, what's noble, pure, and you begin practicing gratitude. And guess what? Gratitude turns scarcity into abundance. It turns what we don't have into what we have. It turns what's not enough into enough. So here's a challenge for you this week, my friend. I want you to sit down in a quiet corner and write down one negative story that's been on repeat in your own life. Ask yourself this: what has this story cost me? Then use what I've taught you, the catch, cancel, and correct tool or concept, to rewrite that story. And then flip it into a gain statement by focusing on how far you've come instead of what's missing and how far you still have to go. Then write down what you're grateful for. Each day, this will become a reminder of your progress. My friend, these steps may actually seem very small, but they create massive transformation over time. When you do them consistently, when you retrain your mind to live in the gain instead of living in the gap, when you train your mind to catch every thought and cancel it and then correct it with an empowering truth, you will see transformation over time. Remember, every time you're rewriting a story, you're literally building a new reality for yourself. Your story matters. So think about what story you're telling yourself. Think about what reality you want to create for yourself. Think about what cycles you want to disrupt by thinking and affirming yourself with a new and empowering truth. And here's the beautiful thing: you're not stuck with the story you've been telling yourself. You actually have the power from today to edit that story or to completely cancel it, revise it, and write a whole new chapter of your life. So this week, I want you to catch the lies that you've been told, you've been telling yourself, or the enemy, if you're a spiritual person, has been telling you, and then rewrite the truths and boldly start to live the story you actually want to live, the one God has been writing for you all along. Because when you change your story, you truly change everything. So do me that favor. Catch, cancel, correct, and start living in the gain and not in the gap. Flip every statement in your life from the gap statement to a gain statement. And hey, I'm not asking you to live in a state of toxic positivity where you are only seeing positive things regardless of the negative things going on. No, you acknowledge there's some negativity, there is some downtimes in your life, but you're choosing to focus on what's true, what's noble, what's praiseworthy, what is good. And that way, you will shift from the gap to living in the gain. You will start to catch, cancel, correct your thoughts. Well, my friend, that's a wrap for today's episode. I would love to hear from you. What story came up for you while you were listening? Please leave me a comment and let me know your thoughts or share one takeaway that really resonated with you. You can also reach out to me on email. All the details are right there in the show notes. Also, don't forget to follow this podcast so you never miss an episode. And if you're tuning in on YouTube, please hit that like and subscribe button. Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Until next time, remember this: your past does not define you, your pain does not disqualify you, and your story is still being written. So stay grounded, stay faithful, and stay grateful. Let's break, heal, and rebuild together. Bye.